So, Sword Art Online episode 6, pretty much another rundown since, well, the series is already at like episode 10 or waiting on 11. So, yeah, pretty much continue off where episode 5 ended. We get a little few clips of the previous, this Yoriko girl, how she got stabbed in her back or whatever, and then fell out the window and died. So Kirito now is pretty much looking outside the window and he's trying to figure out who the fuck did this. And he finds this shadowy cloaked figure and he's like, that's the fucker. So he chases his ass. And while chasing him, the guy pulls out a teleport crystal. And Kirito's like, ah, shit. And pulls out these like throwing dagger, pin needle blade things and chucks them at him. But they get blocked by some sort of, I guess, barrier or I don't like if I remember, they said there's no magic or something, so there's no barriers, I'd assume, but who knows? Maybe it's a passive, like block projectiles or arrows or some special trait, whatever. Anyway, the guy teleports and he's just out. So then Kirito goes back, talks with Asuna, like, I saw some dude, whatever, he ran away, I couldn't catch him. And Schmidt here is like tripping out, and he's like, oh god, it's a ghost, and she's back for revenge, Griselda's gonna kill us all, oh my god, we're screwed. And yeah, so then later we find Kirito and Asuna discussing it. They're like, that's ridiculous, ghosts don't exist, in the video game, I don't think they exist, whatever, blah blah blah, etc. And then Asuna's like, here, eat. Like, you have to eat. Come on, whatever, take it. Like, stop fucking staring, eat it. And he's like, oh shit, this looks really good. And then he's like, man, this is delicious. Where'd you buy this from? And she's like, I didn't buy it. Like, and he's completely baffled at like, huh? And she's like, I can cook. Like, there's a skill trait in the game. You can do that. And in his shock and surprise, he drops the sandwich or whatever, and he's like, fuck! And the sandwich, I guess, breaks or departicalizes or dies or some shit. And now he's freaking out because he's like, damn it. But he has a stroke of genius, and he's all like, oh, it's fucking Watson. The answer's been in front of us all along. And yeah, so now we're taken to this other dark, mysterious forest in like a earlier or previous floor or whatever. And Schmidt here is apologizing to the grave of Griselda or whatever. And then these shadowy cloaked figures show up and they're like, what the fuck, like, who gave you this order or some shit? Because he's pretty much like apologizing. He's like, someone give me some order, told me to put some crystal in some room, and I'm sorry, please don't kill me. And they're like, what the fuck? And he's like, oh shit, like, this is the ghost of the Griselda. And then he sees another ghost guy and he's all like, oh shit, Grimrock, you died too? And he admits to everything he did, and they're like, oh shit, and they uncloak themselves, and he's like, oh, it's Yoriko and the other dude who I guess was in armor. And yeah, so later we're back with, or I guess previously or some shit, we're shown that pretty much Asuna and Kirito were talking, and they're like, oh yeah, they're still alive. They faked their deaths. They just let I guess they let the armor take damage, or the armor has like a durability or something. And once that reached a certain level, it broke, and they would teleport or something at the same time. So, like, it looked like they died because, well, the armor is shattering or whatever. And yeah, so they faked their death in order to try to get people, and they made this idea of like the ghosts or some spirit of revenge coming to get people. So yeah. So then we're taken back to the people in the forest having their discussion, and then Schmidt gets paralyzed and attacked, and this guy shows up, and he's like, oh, fuck, yes, finally, we got one of them. And this group shows up, and they're like, oh, yeah, like, what are we gonna do? Ha 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 ha, like, I guess we'll just kill them or what, some shit. And later, they pretty much say, like, oh, we're part of Laughing Coffin, and yeah. And then they trip out because they hear like some noise or something off in the distance. And then suddenly a horse appears and it's here to kick their asses. But no, it turns out it's just Kirito. And Kirito is just like, you know what? man, I barely made it in time, thanks. And the horse is like, yeah, no problem, bro, and like leaves. So he's all like, you know what, like, he pretty much is like, dude, come on, what do you guys want to do? Because I'll fight your asses right here, right now. And the laughing coffin leader guy is like, you know what? No, let's back the hell up. So now we're taken back in time again or something, and pretty much Kirito is talking with Asuna or whatever, and he's pretty much they're talking about like how marriage works and something about the items and how like you can pretty much how I guess when you get married, your item stock hold thing is together. Like whoever your I guess current lover or whatever, or whoever you're married with, they can see your item inventory, or you guys have a shared inventory. So yeah, so then they come to the conclusion like, oh shit, well what happens if like your wife or husband or significant other is killed? What happens to the items? Like if they were holding something, but you guys have like a shared item stock thing. So yeah, they come to the conclusion that like, oh shit. Um, Pretty much Kirito starts telling them like, yeah, the conclusion is Grimrock probably planned it all. And he probably had Griselda killed, and then he stole the item that way. And then he's pretty much telling them in the forest that, like, yeah, Grimrock probably did it. And then Asuna shows up, and she's like, I found Grimrock in the forest, because apparently he was hanging out in the forest watching what's happening. He probably, I think he's the one who told, like, Laughing Coffin, like, hey, could you kill these people because they're meddling in my shit. So his previous guild friend members and or Yoriko and this other dude are like, why would you do this? Why would you kill Griselda? She was your wife. Like, did you really want money that bad? And Grimrock's like, not for the money. I actually killed her because she was my wife in real life as well. So we didn't just get married in the game. We were married in real life. And she was nice, polite, gentle, all that stuff. But once she got into the game, it was a whole different story. She wasn't afraid. She was ready to kick ass. And she wasn't paranoid and a pansy like me, all freaking out by this game of death. And she got more confident and all this shit. And so I had to have her killed now before I had to deal with her in real life because the girl I knew didn't exist anymore. So everyone's like, really, what the fuck? He says some shit to Kirito, but Kirito's pretty much he's like, oh, you'll find the truth about this, or you'll understand once you get married, or some crap. But Kirito's like, whatever. So yeah, and then he's taken away by his group of people and shit. So Kirito and Asuna are talking about like how I guess relationships work and crap like that. And then Asuna's walking away, and Kirito's like, whoa, hold up. And they see some figure, and it turns out it's Griselda, or her ghost or something. And, yeah. So they're just shocked. And then, pretty much they walk away. And Asuna's like, yo, we should be friends. And so it begins. Now, first step complete. And, yeah. So, at least something started. Other than that, that's pretty much the episode. It finally finished a little story, like I guess a little 2-episode story arc, or some, not really an arc, but just like a little story and shit. But yeah, hopefully the next episode has more stuff or continue something new. But yeah, at least things started moving. So again, if you like it, if you want more, subscribe, and yeah, thanks for watching.